He said it. I've been telling y'all this. The problem is New York bias. And New York bias doesn't mean that it's New York only. It's East Coast bias. East Coast bias towards the West is kind of sickening, man. Like, for real. All right, man. Torture Talk After Hours. You know what it is. We back. Hey, man. I finally got my camera back, so we back online. All right, man. So, look. Today's episode, Joe Budden's in them speak on Kendrick Lamar, and Joe admits that he was wrong about Kendrick Lamar's vision on what he was doing with the Super Bowl. So let's get into it. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. You know what it is. Let's go.
And first,
The first rapper to put up over, was it 100 million listeners in a month?
He did a whole bunch of
He broke a lot of shit.
And he broke that record. He also, you talk about all the
First living male recording artist to have 3 albums in the top Billboard.
top 10.
Top 20.
Yeah,
top 20.
top 10.
Top 10.
Top 10.
He has number 1, number 9, and number 10.
Gotcha.
That's a stat.
GNX went back up to number 1. Damn made it to number 9, and Good Kid, Mac City is number 10.
Goddamn.
All right, so I'm going to say this. I think a lot of us, we misunderstand greatness. And I definitely think that when it comes to Kendrick, a lot of people misunderstand Kendrick. Kendrick Lamar has a vision that I think most artists don't have. We never seen nothing like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to understand, even with Drake being at the top of the helm for years, 15, he never did this. So for Kendrick to do this fast lets me know that Kendrick is a bigger artist than Drake. Because it took Drake years to get where he's at. Kendrick Lamar, he's been in the game, but just recently, now people are starting to go back and listen to his old, and his old shit is classic. And what I told y'all before, once people go back and listen to his old stuff, yeah, it's not gonna be good for Drake. It's not gonna be good, and not even just ain't gonna be good for Drake. It's just not gonna be. It's gonna be good for Kendrick because people are going to see that he's super talented. Like, I just don't know how to even explain it sometimes because a lot of times people don't understand greatness. They really don't. And when you sit down and listen to Kendrick and the things that he has to say, and you see that he's on a level of a genius. A lot of these artists ain't like that. And honestly, if you really pay attention, you don't really see too many artists dropping music that is not trying, because you have to understand, dropping music in this climate right now is very easy, but it's really about what you're dropping. So I just seen recently Joey Badass did another diss. Like, man, listen, man, go sit down somewhere, bro. Like, for real.
Clearly, he was right about his set list. For the fans out there that would like to hear me say it again, I was wrong about the set list.
Oh, yeah, it worked. It worked.
He had his own plan, and as you can see, it's working.
Yo, and for y'all fans that needed to hear that, I'm wrong every day about something. There's not a day that passes where I don't get something wrong. I wish you guys could see all of them, all the mistakes.
Man, Joe Buttons is a funny dude. He's funny for multiple reasons, but I like his honesty sometimes. I think sometimes he be honest. He be honest a lot, but he's a character. But admitting you wrong about something like that, that to me, that's very commendable. You can't really do, like, people like Maul would never admit that they're wrong. You know what I'm saying? And if he do, it'd be a backhanded compliment following right behind it. I was wrong, but, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like when you're in a relationship and you catch you catch your partner cheating, or your girlfriend or your boyfriend cheating on you, and it's like, I was wrong, but the only reason why I did it is because you did this. Like, well, you the one that, nah, I wouldn't have did it if you wouldn't did this. So it's really your fault. You know what I'm saying? So let's keep it going.
seem to get a real thrill out of that one.
It was tight, yo.
Congrats.
You ain't go in there and go in about
Y'all
being
didn't
wrong.
go in there and kill Joe that he was wrong about the settlers. What do you say?
Nigga was wrong.
I was
yo.
wrong.
That's it.
Oops.
Got one bad. Fuck, darn it. Congratulations to Kendrick.
Yeah.
The entire TDE.
Entire PG Lang.
The entire
Yeah.
the entire PG Lang. Say that
both
shit.
of 'em.
Yeah.
Whole West Coast.
Yeah.
Whole West Coast. I do feel.
Yeah.
Whole West Coast. I do feel the rest of the country's West Coast resentment kicking in. I know the West has been saying that for a while. I'm starting to feel it.
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel it.
I see it. But, I mean, the West was ready for it.
I don't know if Memphis is feeling like that.
I 100% agree. I've been on record saying this, that I definitely believe that the West Coast, I'll put it to you like this. East Coast has their thing, West Coast has their thing, South has their thing, Midwest has their thing, right? But it's only really two people in the room if you think about it. That's the East Coast and the West Coast. And the East Coast and the West Coast are like, to me, they're like cousins that don't really like each other. They know we were related, but we don't really like each other. You know what I'm saying? That one cousin you just don't like, he just don't like you, or she just don't like you. I look at the East Coast and West Coast like that. But we family though, and I think in certain cases, if certain people was to come at, because I put it to you like this: if you come to the East Coast, if you're from the West, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna be protected. You go to the West Coast and you're from the East, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna be protected. You know what I'm saying? Because this is how it is. But the war will always be between the East and the West. East and the West, it'll always be that way. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of East Coast dudes, especially now, they don't really have anybody that can challenge Kendrick Lamar. Besides the greats, but they're not gonna do that because they on his team. Jay-Z, Nas, they on Kendrick's team. You know what I'm saying? Who going to challenge him? 50 Cent? No. Busta Rhymes? No. You know what I'm saying? Like, Fat Joe? No. He's not going to challenge Kendrick Lamar. You know what I'm saying? And I also believe that it's only right to give Kendrick his just due right now. You got to give him his just due.
I'm just talking about New York and Atlanta. We think, Freeze?
Nah. I don't think so. Memphis artists still cooking, and
That's what I said. I don't think Memphis is.
But I
feeling
do.
like
I
that
do
yet.
see everybody else just getting tired of it. It's like, all right, y'all got a moment. Act like you've been here before, type of shit. And the West Coast not doing
Yeah,
that.
nah, fuck
What
that.
do you think about act like you've been here before?
It's their moment.
Yeah, when they're in the middle of a moment like this.
Yeah,
no,
it's their
let
moment,
'em
man.
rock.
The shit is
What
not
I'm
dying
Probably
down
score
yet.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that, but the sentiment is, dog, y'all acting like y'all have never been here before.
No, people
love
like
y'all.
no people like
I
to
don't
play.
Yeah, I 100% agree with him on that. I think that the West Coast do feel like they never been the best before. Y'all been the best a couple of times actually, and I definitely think that the West Coast do feel like that. I put it to you like this: sometimes I feel like the West Coast don't feel like they get their proper respect, and I think that they don't brag. The West Coast don't really brag too much. They don't really brag like the East Coast. Please, East Coast. Anybody from the East Coast, Ice Spice to say she's the greatest of all time. Like East Coast brag. They braggadocious. That's where that whole word come from. Braggadocious comes from the East Coast. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to the West Coast, they don't really brag too much. I don't really see too many people bragging about them being the best. The West Coast stand on business. I will admit that. It's a little bit different from what I seen. Different.
Keep reminding
They like-
everybody,
no,
yo,
they-
we up.
But
right
I don't
now.
know if they've ever been here before.
92?
Yeah, they were. They were. That chronic,
92, 93,
doggy
they was
style run.
That early 90s.
Early 90s.
It was massive,
early
but this is, I mean, it's just a different era, I guess. It's like comparing
that's all.
fucking basketball
It's just-
players from different
It's just been
eras.
so long. Like a lot of the
Hip hop didn't have the platforms that it has now. There was no hip hop at the Super Bowl. It's different shit. It's a different level. It's the same, yeah, it's big in terms of hip hop, but it's bigger, like being that hip hop is bigger, it's bigger.
They say act like you've been here.
Yeah, I get what they're saying. But here's the thing, right? This is my take on this whole thing. I definitely think that that hip hop is much bigger than what it was, and I think that hip hop, even when you think that hip hop isn't growing anymore, or it seems like it's down and out, it just keeps moving up and up. And I know a lot of people probably ain't gonna understand what I'm saying when I say this, but Kendrick Lamar, even though he beat Drake, he took the baton from Drake, and he actually made hip hop bigger than what it is today. And the reason why I'm saying that, because a lot of y'all probably would disagree with that. I'm gonna get into that, but let's see what else they got to say, and then we get into it.
Before, I don't think that necessarily means that you had to have been there before.
Right.
No, you don't.
That's not what I don't think that's what the phrase is about.
Right. It's like have some class, have some.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just means you ain't got to be on a.
Act like shit is not new to you and that you just fucking, yeah.
But how they supposed to act? I mean, what would that look like if you the West Coast right
like
now?
how do you celebrate in a classy manner? Like I don't see what they've done that has been unclassy.
And I'm like, talk your shit. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Run the score up. Fuck it, because your moment gonna leave.
The record is still hot, and the shit that's going on is still going on. It's being promoted on big platforms and bigger platforms, and so it's not going anywhere, and they have a right to celebrate that.
Yeah.
Right.
For a long time, it's like the East Coast, we are hip hop and all that shit, and we lend you guys or pass you guys the torch. Like so let them celebrate and have fun.
They did not like us at the SNL shit. With
Exactly.
The old skit with Will Ferrell. Yeah. That shit was funny.
Yeah, they're not stopping.
That's really
That
what
shit
the
was
problem
funny.
is, though. It's just New York. I don't even think it's Atlanta that.
He said it. I've been telling y'all this. The problem is New York bias. And New York bias doesn't mean that it's New York only. It's East Coast bias. East Coast bias towards the West is kind of sickening, man. Like, and I don't understand why. Here's the thing about hip hop. Everybody always screaming hip hop, hip hop, hip hop, hip hop, hip hop, hip hop, hip hop. But most of y'all only regional hip hop supporters. You know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all don't know a lot of the West Coast artists. And a lot of y'all don't know, like, y'all just basically like y'all region. That's it. Or your friends who rap. Yeah, we real hip hop. You know what I'm saying? But when it come to those, they commercial. Even though they real hip hop, they still commercial. Let's keep it going.
Much. It's just New York.
I didn't want to. Mel,
Yeah.
give me a hug. Let's go.
Nope.
All right, so we're going to end it there. All right, so look, here's the thing, right? I think that battle, Drake has passed the baton. Not even passed. I think Kendrick kind of took it from him. And the reason why I say that Kendrick is bigger than Drake is because everything he's doing, Drake had a chance to do and he didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? Or he couldn't do it. Reaching 100 million Spotify listeners as a hip-hop artist is major. That puts you in the class of Weeknd, Bad Bunny, Taylor Swift, Bruno Mars. I mean, for a long time, The Weeknd was number one for a while. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if he's still number one, but he's definitely number one on all the charts, though. But I don't know if he's still number one on Spotify. But he was number one for a minute. And now Kendrick Lamar is number 5. That's 20 million more listeners than Drake on Spotify. It's a big deal. He just did the Super Bowl. Drake never did the Super Bowl. He about to go on a world tour, stadium tour. Drake don't do stadiums. So I think Drake is a numbers guy to a certain extent. And GNX, in its, I believe, 13th week or 15th week or something like that, just sold 210,000 copies in its 13th week. Drake, only in his first week, he sold 250. So that tells you right there where the numbers are going. And I give it about a year or two, he's going to break even more records. So thank y'all for joining me. I appreciate y'all for being here with me. I had to get everything right. Now everything's fixed again. All right, man. I'll see y'all. Peace. Bye. Sorry for the delay of the episodes, too. YouTube been putting the episodes out late, but now that I'm back, I'm going to try to at least release 3 episodes a day over here, too. So, all right. Let's get it.